Hi, welcome to my channel. Letting an ex go. Should you let your ex go or should you manifest them back? I personally think the first thing that you should do when you are missing a person, where there is the lack of them, where you desperately want them back in your life, is to let them go. It's to let that situation go. So what you do when you do that is you deal with all of the hurt, because there will be hurt there. Maybe they've said things that have hurt you. Maybe they made the decision to leave. Maybe they just pulled away. Maybe they stopped contacting you. Whatever the reason is, when you jump into manifestation, you bypass dealing with all of those feelings. And if someone's hurt you, you need to deal with that. Here's the key to it. You deal with all of those feelings, you bring them up within, you let them be there, you analyze them, you work out why you're feeling the way you're feeling, and then you get to the bottom of whether you actually want them back. Because a lot of times we don't actually feel the same way about a person that we used to, but we get hooked on the manifestation and we lose sight of what they are and who they are as a person, because we're so busy trying to change them and make them how we want them to be. But we haven't dealt with all of that hurt and that painful stuff, and that doesn't go anywhere. Your subconscious holds on to everything. Nothing goes anywhere. And if you don't deal with it, it will come back to bite you in the ass at some point. So far better to deal with the end of the relationship as if you didn't know about the law of attraction, the law of assumption, you didn't know about manifesting. What would you do then? You would deal with it in whichever way. You might internally call them out, you might externally call them out, you would deal with those feelings. You would either completely detach from it, pull yourself away from it, know that you deserve better. Whatever, you deal with it, and you would be in a different position than if you jumped into manifestation. When you jump into manifesting a person, when you've split and you feel bad, you feel crap, you bypass that whole healing part. You don't do the healing, you just go straight to manifestation. You get frightened of dealing with any of those feelings in case that means you can't manifest. And that is the worst thing that you can do, because again, those feelings don't go anywhere. And even if you do get back together based on still having all of those feelings, they will come back to haunt you. So far better to deal with them. And then what you're doing, I believe, is wiping the slate clean. You are there, and you can then look at manifestation, but from a point of a clean slate. So all of that stuff you've dealt with, so you don't feel that anger anymore, you don't feel resentment, you don't feel irritation, you don't feel the frustration. And the key way to deal with these things is to really feel them. Again, I'm not talking about deep trauma here, of anything really traumatic that's happened to you. I'm just talking about you've split up with a person, you are hurt, you are feeling resentment, you are feeling anger, and you're trying to bury that in case you cannot manifest. So you deal with each feeling as it comes up. Why do I feel this anger? What did they do to make me feel this? And really sit with it. Let that feeling wash over you, because if you sit with that feeling for as long as you possibly can, you'll get to the end of the time and you'll have had enough. Then you'll realise that feeling is not as strong. And if you do that again the next day and the next day, eventually that feeling would have at least halved, and probably, it could have just gone altogether, and you may not even be able to grasp that feeling anymore. You've successfully dissolved it by dealing with it. You don't dissolve anything by ignoring it. It just sits there and it festers and it grows, and it will come back at some point on you, because it's still in there, all in your subconscious, stored, ready to show back to you in reality at some point. So I do really advocate letting someone go in the moment, not saying that you're never going to get back with them, but letting them go, dealing with all of the hurt as if you didn't know about any of this magic. You didn't know about it, because then you can look at it from a completely clean slate. You just got to look at it like, I have to deal with this in order to move forward in whichever way. So what will happen is you'll deal with all of that stuff, you'll feel it, you'll bring it up, you'll analyze it, you'll work out why you're feeling what you feel, why do you like this person so much, why do you want them back. At the end of it, you'll either decide, I actually don't want them back anymore, or you will decide, no, I do want this again, I do want this back. But you will be in a much different state than you would have been had you not dealt with any of that stuff. We cannot hide from ourselves. Our mind will tell us that we can. Our mind will try. We can hide from our rational mind, but we cannot hide from our subconscious mind, and that is what reflects back to us. So that's the key part here. We cannot hide from that. So far better to bring it up, have those feelings. Don't be scared of those feelings, because my first boyfriend I got back with on and off, on and off. We were finishing all of the time and getting back together. And when I look at half of those times we got back together, that was based on me wanting it back and feeling it and just not caring that I had negative thoughts and this was going on and that was going on. I didn't obsess about it. I just wanted it and it happened. But when we get stuck in a manifestation cycle, what we do is we pay very close attention to what we consider our limitations. We pay very close attention to what we need to change in order to get this person back. But the only time to change yourself, the only reason to change yourself is so that you feel better, not doing it to get this person, because that just, you're then attached to that reason. You know, if you've given yourself a reason, I need to feel better, I need to feel like I'm first best and all of that, but you're just doing it to get this person back, you'll never truly feel that. And you don't need to feel like you're first best all the time. I don't feel like I'm first choice all of the time. I don't care to feel like that. If somebody doesn't choose me, then they're not right for me. That's the way I try to look at it. It's much easier to do that. But I'm also very confident in myself, and my self-esteem is at a point where I think, well, I don't see why I wouldn't be first choice, but if I'm not worried. That's where you want to be. You don't want to be at this point where you're forcing yourself to feel first choice, because the chances are, if you don't feel first choice, then there's a lot of stuff that's gone on in the past to make you feel this. It's much gentler and softer to go, it'd be great to be first choice, but it doesn't have to happen. But I'd like to feel that it's possible that I could be chosen. It's much better sort of looking at things like that, but looking at it from a point of view, a much broader point of view, not looking at it in order to get this person, because then you're putting so much pressure on yourself that you're never freely working at yourself. You're doing it with it's with a caveat. I'm doing it because I want this person. So if you didn't want that person, would you still do this? So look at it like that. If I didn't want this person, or this person was no way going to be available to me, this is just for your own mind's sake, this is not a fact, would I still work at myself? And if you just couldn't be bothered, no, I don't think I would bother, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. But if you think, yes, I want to be better, for future me, I want to be better, for present and future me, I'm going to do it anyway, then you know that you're doing it for the right reasons. So it's just key to get, why am I doing this? But really, letting this version of a person go is what you're doing. When you deal with all that hurt, that sadness, that resentment, whatever those feelings are, you are going to feel better. You're going to get an element of relief and release. You're going to shift internally, whatever. And then you can move forward from that point. Do I want them back still? Do I not? Another key thing to think about is over time, when someone treats you badly over time, and let's say you've had a bit of contact with somebody and there's been a lot of toing and froing going on, breadcrumbs, okay, you've been breadcrumbed by this person. When you look at how you actually feel about them, I'm not going to guarantee it, but I would say 95% sure you don't actually feel the same way about them anymore, because that kind of thing erodes your feelings for them. It will not be as pure and as good as it was before, because all of that stuff has happened and that's eroded away. So when you look at how you feel about them, if you don't feel the same, just think, okay, I don't actually feel the same. Do I truly want this person still? But do it all in an analytical way. Look at how you're feeling and look at why you're feeling like that, but not in a stressed out way. But how am I feeling? Do I really want this person? Am I attached to the manifestation of them, or am I attached to them? If I want them, why do I want them? What have they done that's been truly hurtful, even whether it's coming from you or not? So whether I believe that our subconscious mind, so the reality is a reflection of our subconscious mind. That's just my belief. You may not believe that, but that would not help me in life to get past things, to get over things. I have to deal with things in a real world way and deal with hurt, deal with resentment, deal with anger, feel it, bring it up, don't run away from it, don't be scared of it, then I can move on. I'm very good at moving past things. I'm very good at dealing with things and then thinking, okay, I've dealt with that now, I've done the best job I can, let that go. I've always been good at that. I don't hold on to resentment or anything like that, but I do need to deal with things. And if I didn't deal with those things, they would still be in there, so I would still be holding on to them, whether I believed I was or not. If I didn't deal with them, they would still be there doing their work on autopilot. So I hope that this was a useful video and something that you can take forward. I'm a firm believer in dealing with anything that you can deal with, anything that's there that you know is there, deal with it. And even if you're not sure if something is there, ask your subconscious to show you if there's anything residual that you haven't dealt with, and something will come up if there is something there, and maybe there's not. But jumping straight into manifestation, I think, is a very rocky road. It does work for some people, but I think the people that it works for are the people that probably don't care as much as they think they care about a person. Personality types, basically, and you have to go with your personality type. Know yourself and know that if you don't deal with things, it will come back to bite you in the ass at some point in the future. Deal with it now. Deal with it and then make that decision. Do I still want them? If I do still want them, why do I want them? How are they going to enhance my life? How is being with them going to enhance my life? How is it going to do that? How is it going to make me happy? Because you have to be happy anyway. But how are they going to enhance my life? And be really, really honest with yourself, and know, if you're not sure why you want them, ask your subconscious, show me why I want them so much. You can ask your subconscious any question and it will throw up an answer. Maybe then and there, probably a couple of days later when you're least expecting it, something will show to you then. But ask the question and get to the bottom of why you want them. Do you still want them? But definitely deal with all of that stuff, because it will hold you back. It will not help you to bury all of that stuff in case you can't manifest, because you'll never truly get to the point you want to get to if you bury things that are actually embedded in your subconscious, running like a little program on autopilot. And like I said, when you don't deal with them, they are on autopilot. They're still showing to you in your 3D reality because they're there, so they kind of have to. But if you deal with them, they'll be different. They'll either be different, diminished, or they won't be there at all.